Hi and welcome to another video. In this video I'm going to try to help you going from a Atari or capture game where you're just trying to capture your opponents into playing for territory instead. And in the last episode, or a previous episode at least, we came into this situation here where Black defended the cut and so did White. Now there's maybe you need to know when it's safe to actually play moves like this, where there's an obvious cut, but it's not actually dangerous. So let's say White plays this cut, then Black can play here, and that creates a ladder shape. You should know this shape from the tutorial video, or no, not the tutorial video, the tutorial site, that one I linked you earlier. It's probably going to be in this description as well. So if you haven't checked it out, you should check it out. Even if you're like above that level, it's really helpful and it doesn't take that long, especially not if you know about the basics. So this becomes a ladder shape, and that means this cut is not a danger. White can play the same here, and it's the same thing. If Black actually plays here, we have yet another ladder. Okay, so as long as this ladder doesn't run into some black stones here, it's going to be safe. And the same for White. If White cuts here, and as long as the ladder doesn't run into some white stones here, it's safe. Okay. There's another point I would like to make about this, is that you should count liberties. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 liberties. If this stone didn't exist, it would still be 4 liberties. Okay, so you need 4 liberties to avoid the situation where if Black cuts, so that when Black doesn't play here, it doesn't become Atari, because if this becomes Atari, the ladder doesn't work anymore. And so that's a point to make here. Yeah, so if Black passes now, and you see, this group only has 3 liberties. If White plays here, and Black plays here, there's a ladder shape, right? And this works, because there's no white stones here, so the ladder works, okay. If Black plays here, there's still a ladder, but Black doesn't have enough liberties on this group, so when White plays here, this becomes into Atari, and now there's a problem. And this is also important. If Black gets to play here and White blocks on the wrong side, you can see the ladder shape is still intact, and this is a ladder again. It's not like super important, but something you can keep in mind. So let's just close this game out. Black is playing super safe and White is playing safe. They're just closing off their territories. In this case, Black is actually gonna win. She's ahead by about, I would guess, about this much. So about 8, maybe 9 points. We can actually count it pretty quickly if we want to, but we won't bother. So yeah, this is a pretty large territory, as you can see. Let's make it a soft color. it's a pretty large area, and it's not always certain that you know, that all of this is going to be your territory. White could invade, and black could invade white as well. But since white's territory is smaller, it's going to be easier to deal with. It might still live, maybe it won't. It's up to your like fighting capabilities. So let's just play some moves here and enclose this area. Now, white did enclose some space here, right? So how do we know if this is actually white's territory or if white's dead? You should know about that a group can be dead and actually capture stones, or they can be alive. So these stones could be dead and they're actually black's prisoners, and all of this territory is black's, or white could be alive and then this is white's territory. Now, a very quick way to get a little bit of sense if a group is alive or not is if we go here. Okay, so this is the shape we had up in that corner. This shape, right? So we're gonna go back to this later on. Just keep this in mind. Okay, it's 4 spaces here. In general, you need about 6 spaces to make a life. In the corners, it becomes a little bit trickier because you can kind of imagine this border as being gray stones. They're not stones you can connect to, they just help you with capturing stones. Okay, they're not like friendly stones, but they're not hostile stones. They're gonna kill both players. And so in this case, you can take this. These 3 stones are basically here and they are gray. Okay, so in this case, if white tries to remove the eyes from black, black can play here, which makes for 2 eyes. So whichever side white goes to, black can take the others. This is mi-eye, it's called. It's when there's an equal opportunity. So black lives, there's 2 eyes here. If you don't see it yet, now you probably see it. And even more so now, 2 eyes. The same if white goes here, black plays here, white there, and black plays here. This is not Self-Atari. There's 2 liberties for this large group. So it's not Self-Atari. And if you want to see the eyes even more, now you probably see them even more. 2 eyes. Okay, white doesn't have any eyes, so black doesn't have to capture. It's not necessary. And in this case, this sequence doesn't have to be played out. In the corner, it becomes a bit more tricky. So, first of all, if white plays here, black will take the other spot. If white plays down here, black plays here. After white plays here and here, this group is now in Atari, so black has to capture. But there's 2 eyes, so black is alive. Now, if these spaces were already filled when white played here, black would actually die, because if we play like this and white goes here, bam, 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 that's Self-Atari. So in the corner, it's more important with your liberties. And there's also this way for white to play, and if white plays down here, black take this side, and if white plays up, this becomes much more complicated. So as with here, you want to make an eye because there's stones here, you can imagine. So this would become an eye, but white can capture. Now at first you may think this is a ko, but it's actually not. Black can play here because she still has 2 liberties. After that, white puts this group in Atari and black makes 2 eyes. This is 2 eyes. Okay, white can't remove this. This is 2 eyes, yeah. Okay, so if we go back to this shape that we had in the game, here. Now this doesn't have 4 spaces, this only has 4 spaces. So 2 spaces too little. So how is black actually gonna try to live? You have to make 2 eyes somehow. One way is to play, for example, here. Then we have 3 spaces. If white does not respond, then black can live. There's 2 eyes. Another way is like this, 2 eyes. However, when black plays here, white will respond on the other point here, which will kill black. So we can say that if there's only 4 spaces, your group is most likely gonna die. Unless your opponent makes some mistake that allows you to get a second eye, it's gonna die. Okay, if it's 5 spaces, it's the same thing, but then white has to play this first move, play here, so that black cannot make eyes. And after this, just keep taking out those key points. This is also in that very basic tutorial, and it's very basic life and death. But you can just keep in mind that you need 6 spaces to live. In this case, black is actually dead because of actually like this, because of this self-Atari. If white actually plays here, it actually becomes a ko, but it's not a good ko, because black has to play the first threat. And so we can go back to our game and make the conclusion that white is actually dead and all of this territory is black's, and these are black's prisoner. Because both sides played the same amount of moves inside of this territory, white did not lose any points from playing this. Okay, if black did not respond to this move, black would have gained 1 point. White would have lost 1 extra point. But this is the same as this point-wise. So yeah, so that's how you surrender. So this is basically capturing a lot of territories. This is so many territories. This is like 35, 36, 35, I think, points. Like 3 times 9 is 27 plus 8 is 35, and this is 18 plus 8, 26. So yeah, I don't know how much you got out of this. I hope it kind of helped you getting into the idea of surrounding territory and a little bit about what a live group is, and how to determine if your corner is actually alive or dead. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.